Welcome back to Azart. My name is Nick. I have Kyle here with me. Pecos with the Zero on Instagram. He's a super talented artist. Go check him out. By the way, we cover so much his dark material here, from deep dives from The Authority to Angels to The Land of the Dead. You name it, we're going to be covering it here. Super excited for season 3. And we also did quick little recaps too, so go follow those recaps and stuff. But today, we're going to do a deep dive.
Yes.
The connection between demons and humans.
That's right. From concentrate, nothing but pulp. We're getting into it. It's gonna be thick.
I can't wait. I'm super excited. I forced this title upon Kyle, so.
No, it was great because it actually made me interested in the second trilogy of his dark. Well, it's technically not his dark materials. Philip Pullman joked that he would call this next trilogy his darker materials because it actually has a more darker tone to it. But,
oh, dang!
You know, the trilogy, for all you guys that have probably read it, is the Book of Dust trilogy. Yes. So we'll be drawing from both his dark materials and the Book of Dust, because they both have their own like demon stuff that like expands on the connection. So
sweet, let's jump into it. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, do I just go through
for it? Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's do it topic by topic.
Yeah, so a little bit of an overview, right? Let's just assume that we've got some new people here, right? So
welcome.
Demons are the physical manifestation of a human soul in Lyra's world. So humans in other worlds have like us, right? Yeah. So humans in other worlds have demons, but they're invisible to those who had like not learned the technique to see them, right? So like,
and right now, just in case,
for instance,
spoilers.
Yeah.
If you have not been caught up with season 1 or 2, I should have said this earlier. I know. Spoilers just in case too. If you haven't read the books, because we're going to be talking about stuff that may not even be covered in the series. So if you want to wait till after the series is done, or if you're just interested, this might help maybe understand the world more too if you're just watching the show on HBO Max. But we're definitely going to be doing some spoiler stuff here. Major book ending topics too and stuff like that too. So yeah, you've been warned.
And then there's another example of this, which is Diania. She's queen of the fairies in Lyra's world, where it is thought her demon is collectively a cloud of butterflies that always follows her. And then demons are able to hold different intuitions and reveal emotional responses to their surroundings that might not otherwise be like obvious in their humans, right? So it's almost so demons share the same dreams as their humans and can communicate both verbally and non-verbally with them, right? So like I like to describe them as a manifestation of one's conscience in a certain way. They are typically like the opposite gender of their human. So of course there are rare exceptions to this. Right, so Bernie Johansson, the pastry cook in Jordan College, he was a man whose demon was also male. But this is a very rare occurrence. So I would have Nick and I would probably have female demons.
Yeah.
And then this makes me think they're like a Jungian concept of the anima and animus, right? In that it's the unconscious feminine of a man and the unconscious masculine of a woman, respectively, right? I don't know. That's just me.
That's a really good point, though, right?
But yeah. And then
I think it's a good point. Keep going.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you think so, Nick. Thank you for validating my choices. So now, kind of getting into the life cycle, right? Since they're intrinsically tied to humans. So demons are named. So when demons are born along with their humans, right? They're born at the same time. They're named by the demons of the children's parents. So they're usually named something cool sounding like Pantalaimon or Sulfanax or Kirjava, Celcilia, right? Etc. And during their...
Kevin. No, I'm just kidding. No, just joking. I'm sorry, keep going. That was a joke.
Yes. During their like human's childhood, a demon can shapeshift into any kind of animal, real or imagined, even forms that child too, right? or demon have never seen before.
Yeah,
actually.
I mean, it goes from like mammals to reptiles to bugs.
Yep.
And like it's all over the map. And birds, so they're definitely changing bone structures and everything.
Oh yeah. And this change could be due to emotion, like a need for a particular skill such as night vision, or simply just on a whim, right? Because they're kids.
And I'm just going to state the show does such a good job with expressing emotion depending on the animal too. It's really cool. Like I think like when the fight's happening too with the monkey in season 1, and you see like the different types of animals. First one it attacks, like it's like a cat and it goes into this and it goes into this, and when it wants to get away it goes into something small. It's just so beautiful, like the way they can animate the character and emotions through. They do such a good job. It's like spot on. But sorry to interrupt you there.
No, it's cool.
I want to add that in. They do killer job. Okay.
So for instance, Pan was able to turn into a small dragon, and both he and Salsilia could take on the form of gargoyles, right? So it's unclear whether demons could settle as these fictional forms,
that would be so
or
sick.
if these abilities are a result of youthful creativity, right? This sort of, it may also have been possible to assume the form of an extinct animal as well, though I don't think we've had any examples of this yet. Yeah. And then, frequent changing forms and like a wide variety of forms are generally thought to be a good indicator of intelligence in a child, right? Because it means that they're creative and they have a broader range of mind. And Asta, the demon of Malcolm Polstead, this is from the Book of Dust, was able to add the characteristics of one animal to another form, which was really cool.
Oh, interesting.
So she's able to hybridize.
Yeah. So characteristic of like a fish maybe to like a cat or something.
Right,
like that.
Exactly. So when a human and their demon reach maturity, the demon will settle into a permanent form. So this form represents and this generally represents the personality of their human. So they can even hint to otherwise hidden aspects of someone's personality, intentions, or even their trauma, right? So I have some examples here. So Mrs. Coulter and her nameless golden monkey demon, that's also a red flag that we don't know the name of her demon, right? It's almost as if she doesn't know the identity of herself, right? In certain ways. Yeah. So like he reflects, like the monkey demon reflects Coulter's personality as beautiful on the surface, but holding malevolent intent underneath, right? He rarely speaks and has an affinity for just wanton destruction. Like the example is like when he tore the wings off of cave bats out of boredom. Right. Yeah. And then in many ways, he shows what's beneath Marissa's mask of like projected sweetness.
Yeah.
And then Gerard Bonneville, right? So he's the antagonist from La Belle Sauvage, which is the first book in the Book of Dust. And he has a hyena demon. Her personality is completely opposite of Gerard. So she self-harms, sometimes at the encouragement of Gerard.
Wow.
Where Gerard is oftentimes charming to people when he's trying to get information out of them. His demon will be snarling and glaring at them. Right. So when demons take the form of an animal, they're never really animals since they are extensions of their humans. So for example, all other animals would only be able to sense a human and not their demon. Right.
Yeah.
Demons don't always settle into a permanent form their humans want to. So like if we remember old Jerry, who was a sailor that couldn't leave his ship due to his demon settling as a dolphin.
That's right.
And then forms are sometimes linked to professions, right? So you can sometimes, if someone has a certain occupation, you can have a pretty good guess as to what their demon would be. So like
military, right?
Military, they're usually like dogs or like something that's a predator or like loyal that takes orders, right?
Yep.
And then Mr. Crocker, a wood teacher, and Mr. Taphouse, a carpenter, they had woodpecker demons, right? Roofers, tilers, and steeljacks had demons that could fly or fit in their pocket to make ladder work viable, right? That sort of stuff. And then finally, with death, the death of one results in that of the other. So if you kill a demon, your human's just going to drop dead, right? It's like snipping their soul away, right?
You can't have one without the other.
Right, and then if you kill a human, that demon will evaporate into dust, right? Into sparkly.
Which we've seen in the show,
yes,
and also in the books too. In the books, the most vivid depiction I think of is when Lee Scorby gets his balloon back, and the guy was holding onto the rope, and he was like, "Let go," and he didn't let go, and then he got too far from his demon where he died.
And then, whoosh, the demon vanishes and the guy dies. Yep. So
Aren't
yeah,
you
so
proud of me? I remember that.
dude, yeah, man, you're remembering a bunch. You're remembering a whole slew of stuff.
All right, thank you.
And then, though what's interesting is demons can also be permanently injured. So
Really?
yeah. So this was a particular case with Gerard Bonneville's demon, his hyena demon. She got her leg cut off, and after that happened, she remained that way until Gerard Bonneville died.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. The villain dies. Anyway, so now this kind of leads us into separation. We've already kind of touched on it a little bit, but this is getting into more of the specifics. So as a human and their demon are one being, it's physically and emotionally painful for them to separate too far from each other.
Yep.
Right?
Just like the guy hanging from the balloon.
Exactly. Death usually follows such a separation due to severe trauma it causes, right? So the intercision process that we've seen in season 1 and in the books, right, can separate the human and the demon in a way which doesn't always, emphasis on always, result in death, but this results in the human losing some of their willpower and vitality, kind of like zombies.
But I think they end up dying though eventually, right? Like
yeah,
they don't live long.
They exist in a vegetative state basically until they just wither away.
Which in book 1 we saw with the kid in the hut.
Correct. Yes. And then there are some exceptions or alternatives to this. So witches are known to be able to separate, but the knowledge that humans can achieve this was less common because humans can technically do it, but the witches are familiar with this whole ritual that they have in order to do it. Will and Lyra were able to separate from their demons after leaving them on the shores of the world of the dead, though this didn't give them longevity, the power of flight, or bird forms that witches have, right?
Yeah. Well, because the witches go through a separate process.
Yes. And then as a shaman, John Perry, he is also able to separate from his demon, right? Humans are also able to separate from their demons in moments of great necessity without dying. So when Malcolm Polstead was 11, he separated from his demons so that Asta, his demon, could stay to look after baby Lyra while he went to help Alice Parslow fight off Bonneville. Right. So yeah. Now we're going to get into some more cultural stuff like taboos around demons, right? Which in a way it's, you would think that, cultural norms would be set around how others treat their own demon and others' demons, right? Yes. So it's considered taboo for a person to touch another person's demon, right? It's almost like So humans whose demons are touched by others generally feel a strong sense of repulsion or violation, right? So one exception,
the opposite, right?
Huh?
Or the opposite, like depending on if you love the person.
Exactly. So we'll get into that. And then one exception is when two people touch each other's demons in a gesture of love. So an act that marked the settling of Pantalaimon and Kirjava, for instance.
Yes.
Right. Another one. So Malcolm Polstead observed that the taboo appeared to be learnt rather than instinctual. Right. So he noticed this when he was touched by baby Pantalaimon. He was shocked by the experience, but he felt privileged by the gesture rather than disgusted. Yeah. Right. So it's like someone reaching out and touching your very soul, right? So depending on the context of the interaction, it can be seen as a ghastly violation or something very intimate and moving. Yeah,
because there was a couple of times too where Lyra was like, maybe there was moments where like people would touch her demon and she was just like freaking out by it.
Yep. Yeah. It's like someone scratched a chalkboard. She's like,
and she was just shocked like they would even do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, which was really, I'm just going to touch on some points. It's very interesting too, like in the books, the separation part with the demon, because in the books when Lyra and Will do it, they don't know what's happening. And it's very interesting too, because they don't mention that they still have a connection to them. Like they honestly think like they're separated from them. And then obviously when they get maybe there's something with the Land of the Dead where it's just like the way the connection works and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting too because you're assuming that like they're on the shore, and it's a trip how far they ventured. I couldn't remember if they had help or if they were just doing their own thing. They were just
that's what's interesting is we have a bunch of examples that like once you're able to separate from your demon, you can technically live separate lives.
Yeah.
If you want, they can do errands for you. They can do
like the witches. We see that a lot with the witches.
Yeah, they can get eggs and milk at the grocery store for you, kind of deal.
they can do all of the work, and you can just hang out and have fun.
All kinds of stuff, man. Yeah.
And then we got to talk about demons with the humans worlds too, because technically everyone has a demon.
Yep.
So even Will, when they're at the Land of the Dead and they separate, he's technically separating from his demon. So are the Galavespians too.
That's right. They don't have visible demons, but they feel a change happen, right?
Yes.
They feel something happen. Yeah.
So that was very interesting, and it was also very interesting too at the very end of the book 3, when Dr. Mary Malone was like, "I want to learn to see my demon." And it was very interesting.
Yeah.
So she was like being taught how to do it, but she almost had to look at like the corner of her eye, like it was like she couldn't like focus on it. It was like on the corner of her eye and stuff, and then she would only see it sometimes and stuff. It was like a red bird.
Do you remember the form of her?
It was
demon?
like a red bird. Like I remember it was like a red bird.
Cool.
Or something.
Okay.
It was a bird. It was definitely a bird, and it's so interesting too because like you would think like that has to be scary, right? Because it seems like they can be separated by doors and stuff physically, right? Still?
Right.
So, like, if you're on the subway and you walk out too fast and you leave your demon there, can that cause you to die?
Oh, that's nightmare fuel, dude. Like if the train leaves, too.
Unless, like, what if everyone's demons, because they don't know it's there, it's like an insect or bug that, like, lives on you. Because we see a lot of that with bugs and stuff, too. Or
we see a lot of bug demons on the Magisterium people.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Arachnids, freaking pests.
Bugs. Yeah.
Did you have any other topics or notes?
That covered all the major points.
Yeah, because I mean, if you have other questions too, let us know, because that was just basically an overview between the connections of demons and stuff. We can really dive into deeper ideas and plots and stuff with demons, but Kyle did a great job with the examples. We could of course speculate what that means,
metaphysically, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just going over a lot of the stuff that's presented in the books and also in the show and stuff, and
just to help better understand it, because it could be confusing, especially if you haven't read the books, to understand like what's going on, and even the separation and the power that comes with the separation too, like how strong dust is to rip a hole in reality to go to different worlds, like that super strong power that comes from dust, which is your soul basically, but that's like human sacrifice at that point, which we don't need to talk about. But let us know down below what you thought. Go check out our other deep dives on Angels, The Authority, Land of the Dead, Harpies. You name it, we're covering it. We have some other fun ones too. We really want to dive deep on the Boatman from the Land of the Dead, and we also want to talk about other things like the bomb and how the bomb works and other cool stuff like that too. We already covered the Authority, but we might even cover like the church too, because that's different. Right. And there's so much to cover. We're going to try our best to do as much as we can up to season 3 and during season 3. There's also some cool animals we can talk about, which we don't want to spoil here if you don't know, but if you know, you know. And check out the recaps we did on season 1 and 2 to get refreshed before season 3. Go to Instagram to follow Kyle Pecos with a 0, super talented artist. Go check it out. He has some teaser designs for some shirts we're working on for his Dark Materials. Go check them out there. They're gonna be at azart.space to buy and purchase, and we'll see you on the next Azart. Dude. So I always think of demons as Patronuses, and my Patronus on the Harry Potter thing was a dog.